So this girl's sitting in this bumpy car going down this road because her parents are about to drop her off at her uncle's house. So as she's sitting in the car on this bumpy road, she arrives and sees that there's a barn that's just very old and decrepit. And so she says her goodbyes to her parents. They leave off, and then she comes and sees her uncle, and he's walking up to her, smoking his cigar, and they interact a little bit, and she realizes she's just going to have to get used to him. What her uncle does at his farm is he cuts off chickens' heads. He's a butcher. You know that saying, running around with a chicken like your head cut off? Or running around with a chicken like your head cut off? Yeah, well, that's the real thing here. So even though their heads are cut off, they're able to run around crazy for several minutes after. And he collects all the heads and everything. So at dinner time, they ate chicken naturally. And before she went off to sleep, the girl's uncle told her, the only rule I have for you is that you are to sleep the whole night away. You are not to wake up at all. She thought that was strange, but she thought she would agree to it. So as she's sleeping, she wakes up about 2 or 3-ish in the morning, and she starts hearing this clucking sound, like bok, bok, bok. But she remembered what her uncle told her, and she tried hard to keep her eyes closed. She was fighting it. But then she couldn't resist. She opened her eyes, and she saw it had to be hundreds of floating chicken heads. And she was terrified. She had never seen anything like that in her entire life. And she tried to pull back the blankets over her head. She tried to ignore it and go back to sleep and wish it was a dream. And so when she woke up in the morning, she didn't see it. She felt a sigh of relief. And she was too scared to tell her uncle because he told her not to do that. So she kept it to herself. And so her uncle was busy cutting off the chickens' heads. And she was curious, so she went into the barn. And her uncle saw her. Or she saw all these bags, these black bags, and her uncle told her that that's where he put the chickens. And so then she began asking about his wife. She thought she had an aunt, and the uncle just ignored her, kept going back to his work. She thought that was strange. Like, why wouldn't he mention his wife? So she went on with her day, and at nighttime, it happened again. She was trying to sleep. She was closing her eyes tightly, but she kept hearing the sound. And when she woke up the second time, she saw all these chickens with bloody heads just clucking at her. They wouldn't stop clucking and bok, 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 bok. She kept hearing them. They were like, she was just horrified by the whole entire thing. She wanted to try to sleep again. And when she woke up, she didn't see him, and she thought that was strange. Her heart kept pounding, and she got up in the morning, and then she went into the house, and she looked, and she saw the barn, and she went in there, and it felt horrible because of her uncle killing all the animals. And she opened up these drawers, and she found this folder. And in the folder, she saw pictures of her uncle's wife from long ago. As she was reading it, she realized that her uncle's wife was into voodoo. And you know what voodoo is, or you've heard of people sticking needles into dolls. And she was thinking maybe that's what her uncle did to the wife or something. And so then her uncle caught her, and she had to apologize to him, but he kicked her out of the room. And she left, but she was still curious about what happened to the wife and the voodoo. And she was wondering why the aunt didn't live there anymore. And she was questioning maybe the uncle had something to do with her disappearance. She didn't know what to make of the thing quite yet. So as she was going to sleep again, her heart just started beating faster and faster. She couldn't ignore it. She was really trying to go to sleep, and she couldn't ignore it. As she's sleeping, she opened her eyes, and for the third time, as she's resisting it, she opens her eyes and she sees this woman. And she's covered in feathers, and that's it. And she recognizes the woman as the one from the pictures in the photo, and she has a chicken head on her, and she continues to follow the girl. She's walking as if she's a zombie. And so the girl is terrified. She's just walking very creepily after her, chasing her. And then she sees the blood coming from her and everything. And she's terrified. She lets her uncle know, and he comes out with a shotgun. And he shoots at it. She shoots at the woman. And then the uncle drops dead suddenly. So then the figure is still chasing the girl. She goes into the house, looking after her. And she is just terrified. And she goes into the barn, and she smells the horrible smell from before. And she knows it's the wife of her uncle, the one who was into the voodoo. And she didn't even know what to do, so she realizes it's her, and she realizes she just needs to kill her or something. So she takes, or her soul is trapped, she thinks. And so the woman is just screaming at her, and she decides to just set the barn on fire. And she sees that the woman is happy now and that she's been released. And she thinks she's escaped it. And then a chicken comes at her and attacks her.